Now, what are primary and secondary colours? How do they relate to each other? And how can you use them in your own paintings? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. Welcome back to my channel. If we haven't met before, my name is Michelle. On this channel you'll find art tips and techniques, art business advice and social media training for artists. So please do consider subscribing, and if you click the little bell notification, you'll get notified every time I have a new video for you. So what is colour and what are the primary colours? So colour only exists in our brains, which is a really hard thing to get your head around. So if you're walking down the street and it's night and there isn't much light, you might have had trouble seeing the differences between the colours of the cars, and that is because it's only the way that light bounces off of certain objects that makes our brain see certain colours. If you were a crow or a cat or a lion, you might see a completely different set of colours. You would still see the same colours, but you might not see as many colours. So which are considered to be the primary colours? Well, again, this is complex. There's no correct answer. So if you asked an artist which were the primary colours, they would say red, yellow and blue. If you asked a scientist which were the primary colours, they would be talking about light levels and light emissions, and they might tell you that red, green and blue were the primary colours. If you talk to somebody whose job is a printer, they might start talking about words like cyan and magenta. So the truth is there is no one set of primaries. However, for the purpose of mixing paint and paint colours, we're going to consider that red and yellow and blue are our primary colours and that green is a secondary colour. So it's already starting to sound a bit complicated, isn't it? But I can explain it to you in a way that's really, really simple, and I promise you're going to understand it. So what I'm going to do is point the camera down now at my table and get some colours out. So we're looking down at my desk now, and I've painted red, yellow and blue and written the colour names underneath. Now, whilst technically correct, I don't tend to use a colour wheel to explain colours to my students because I find that it's a little bit confusing. You know, to look at a colour wheel, it's a very complex item, and a lot of people just sort of look at it and go, oh my god, I don't understand any of that. So what I'm going to do is show them to you more in a sort of almost like a family tree layout, in that or sort of a branch layout, in that you start with certain colours and they lead on to other colours. So I hope that'll be a bit easier for you to understand. So here we've got our primaries, red, yellow and blue. So what are secondary colours? A secondary colour is any combination of two of the primaries. So if I mix any two of these together, I'll get a secondary colour. Now there's only three of these, so there are actually only three colour combinations that we can use to make secondary colours. So let's draw those out now. So I could mix the first one and the second one. So I'm going to mix red and yellow. So red and yellow, that's not very strong, is it? Let's go a little bit stronger. It's going to make orange. So what about yellow and blue? Again, I expect you know what we're going to get here. We're going to get, let's get a bit more yellow in that, is green. Now that only leaves two, doesn't it? And that would be blue and red. I'm trying not to lean in the paint here. So what happens if we mix blue and red? Again, I expect you already know the answer. And what we're going to get is purple. It's a little bit dark, so let's add a little bit more water to that so you can see it more clearly. So these are your primary colours and these are your secondary colours. There's one more relationship to talk about here, and that's the colours and their opposites. So colour opposites actually are a combination of all three primary colours. So we're going to start again with red. I could start with any of these colours, whether primary or secondary. We're going to put one colour on the paper. Now if we have red, which of the two primaries are left? We're left with yellow and blue. We've already discovered that yellow and blue make green. This means, let's get some more colour mixed up here, that green is the opposite to red and red is the opposite to green. So these are opposites. But what if we start, instead of starting with a primary colour, what if we start with a secondary colour? So let's go in this time, let's start with purple. So again, we need all three primary colours. So with purple, we've already discovered that's mixed from red and blue. So what's left? What's left is yellow. So yellow is the opposite of purple. So you see how even if you've forgotten which colours are opposite each other, if you just understand that between the two opposites you need a combination of the three primary colours, so one's going to be primary, one's going to be secondary, you need a combination of all three primary colours within those. So here you've got red, and then you've got yellow and blue. Here you've got red and blue, here you've got yellow. So each of these equals all three primaries. So there's only one set left. So let's start with blue this time. So blue's a primary, isn't it? So blue's a single primary colour. So what are the other two primary colours that are left? And the other two primary colours that are left after blue are red and yellow, and we've already discovered that they make orange. Here you have primary colours, you have secondary colours, and within all of those you have colour opposites. Now there's all sorts of things you can do within painting with colour opposites. However, I'm going to make a separate video about that. So just something to remember now is that your primaries and your secondaries are also contained within colour opposites. So learning about primary and secondary colours is just the start. I hope I've explained it in a way that you've understood, and going forward we're going to look a lot more at colour opposites, how you can use them in your own paintings. I'm also going to be doing videos on how to make colour charts, how to mix skin tones and how to mix neutrals. So please do subscribe, and you can watch another video right now.